You're standing in line. Your phone is at 1%. 10 seconds pass, then 30. Your hand twitches toward your pocket even though there's nothing left to check. Your mind starts scratching at the walls of your own skull. That feeling has a name. But the real answer is far stranger than a name. Boredom isn't a glitch in your brain. It might be the exact reason your species is still alive. Think about that for a second. Every other animal on this planet is content to sit still. A lizard can bake on a rock for hours. A cow can chew the same patch of grass all afternoon, but you can't. Give a human 5 idle minutes and something inside starts to itch. Researchers have a word for that itch. They call it the aversive state of wanting but not being able to engage in satisfying activity. That's a clinical way of saying your brain is yelling at you to move. Here's where it gets strange. In 2014, a team led by psychologist Timothy Wilson ran an experiment that sounds almost too simple to matter. They put people alone in a bare room. No phone, no book, nothing to do but sit and think for 15 minutes. Before the experiment, participants said they'd rather do almost anything than sit there bored. Then Wilson's team gave them an option. They could press a button and give themselves a mild electric shock, just to have something to feel. A quarter of the women pressed it. 2/3 of the men pressed it. One man shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes. He would rather hurt than feel nothing at all. That should sound insane to you. It isn't. It's ancient. Rewind 200,000 years. You are not standing in line. You are crouched at the edge of a grassland, and the grass is taller than your knees, which means anything could be hiding in it. There is no scrolling. There is no button to press. There is only the world, and the world does not owe you entertainment. So what does your brain do with that stillness? It gets uncomfortable. On purpose. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies, including long-term fieldwork by Kim Hill among the Ashe people of Paraguay, found something counterintuitive. Idle time in these communities is rare, and when it happens, people don't relax into it. They fidget, they wander, they start looking for something, anything, to fix, hunt, build, or watch. Stillness, for a body built by evolution, is not rest. It's a warning light. Why would evolution build a warning light for nothing happening? Because nothing happening was never actually safe. Picture 2 early humans. One of them can sit by a fire for hours, perfectly content, thinking about absolutely nothing new. The other one, the second the fire dies down and there's a lull, starts wondering what's over that ridge, starts noticing the berries have changed color since last season, starts wondering if the river sounds different today than yesterday. Which one finds the new water source before the drought hits? Which one notices the change in animal tracks that means predators have shifted territory? Which one, frankly, survives? Boredom is not the absence of stimulation. Boredom is your ancestors' alarm system, built to punish you for standing still in a world that never actually stood still. A world where the tribe that stopped exploring, stopped noticing, stopped restlessly poking at the edges of what it knew, was the tribe that missed the storm, missed the migration, missed the enemy approaching from the east. You inherited that alarm. You just don't live in that world anymore. That's the mismatch. Your environment changed in a few thousand years. Your wiring didn't. So the same ancient itch that once sent your ancestors out to map a new valley now sends you, at 11 p.m., into a 4th hour of scrolling through videos you don't even remember watching. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University has spent years studying this exact mismatch. His research describes boredom as your mind desperately signaling for meaningful engagement, and then, when that signal goes unanswered, latching onto literally anything that moves. A notification, a snack, an argument online. It doesn't matter if the thing is good for you. Your ancient alarm system doesn't grade the quality of the stimulation. It only cares that the stillness ends. That explains something that should feel a little unsettling. Boredom isn't the opposite of anxiety. It's a cousin of it. Both are your nervous system detecting a gap between where you are and where it thinks you should be. Anxiety says danger is coming. Boredom says opportunity is being wasted. Neither one lets you just sit there in peace. Now here's the twist inside the twist. If boredom evolved to push you toward discovery, it should have made your species smarter, not just more restless. And that's exactly the theory researchers like Andreas Elpidoru have proposed. Boredom, in his framing, functions as a kind of psychological compass. It doesn't just tell you that something is wrong, it tells you to seek something new, which means every act of human curiosity, every tool invented out of restlessness, every migration out of a valley that had simply become too familiar might trace back to the same uncomfortable itch you feel refreshing an empty inbox for the 5th time in a minute. Boredom didn't just help humans survive scarcity, it may have built human creativity itself. Consider what happens in your brain during those blank, unstimulated moments. Neuroscientists have found that idle time doesn't shut the brain down. It activates something called the default mode network, a system that lights up specifically when you are not focused on a task. This is the same network associated with imagination, self-reflection, and connecting ideas that don't obviously belong together. In other words, the very discomfort that makes you want to reach for your phone is also the exact state your brain uses to generate original thought. That's why some of your best ideas show up in the shower, on a long walk, or lying in bed doing nothing. Not despite the boredom, because of it. But here's the modern trap, and it's a cruel one. Every screen in your pocket was designed by people who understand this ancient alarm system better than you do. They know boredom is unbearable. They know your brain will grab the nearest stimulation the moment that itch appears. So they built an infinite supply of nearest stimulation, engineered to arrive exactly when the itch starts and vanish exactly before your brain gets what it actually wanted. Not exploration, not meaning, just movement. Your ancestors' alarm system was built for a world with real gaps to fill. A missing food source, an unexplored ridge, a mystery worth solving over weeks. Your alarm system now gets triggered by a 4-second lull at a red light, and it's satisfied badly by 4 seconds of video that leaves you no smarter, no fuller, no more curious than before. You're not weak for reaching for your phone in that gap. You're running software built 200,000 years ago on hardware it was never designed for. So what do you do with an alarm system this old, wired this deep, sitting inside a world this fast? You don't try to silence it. You can't. Wilson's participants tried and ended up shocking themselves rather than sit with nothing. The itch is not optional, but where you point it might be. The same restlessness that once sent a person over the ridge to map new territory can still send you somewhere. A new skill, a half-finished idea, a question you've been meaning to actually sit with instead of scrolling past. The alarm doesn't care what you feed it, it only cares that something is happening, which means, for the first time in human history, you get to choose what something means. So the next time your phone dies, or the meeting runs long, or the line doesn't move, and that old itch starts scratching at the inside of your skull, don't reach for the nearest flicker of light. Notice it instead. That itch crossed 200,000 years to reach you. It once sent your ancestors across grasslands and oceans looking for something worth finding. You're not bored, you're still exploring. You just forgot there was ever anything out there worth looking for.